Good morning. Today we're going to go over the rational expressions quiz. This is also a very good review for your test that is coming up. So even if you did well on the quiz, you might want to look over this while you are reviewing for your test. All right, looking at number 1. Now here the quiz was worth 10 points and there were 5 problems. So each problem was worth 2 points. So you could get partial credit for getting to a certain point and showing that you know something about each problem. All right, so number 1, we're going to write the simplified form of 4a cubed over 12ab squared. Now, this is nothing more than just a division problem, okay? So I'm going to break this up and turn this into a 4 over 12. And then if you want to think about a cubed over a, and then there's no b's in the top, but you got to put a b in there somewhere. I mean, you got to put something in there, and then a b squared. So you're really doing 3 different simplifying problems in one. I'm going to draw a fraction bar just so I have one, and I know I'm going to put some stuff in there. So let's think about 4 divided by 12. Well, that's the same thing as 1 divided by 3, or 1/3. So I'm going to write 1/3. That's it, okay? And then a cubed over a. Well, you've got a cubed divided by a to the first power. You can think subtraction, or you can think in your head, this is really a times a all over a. So you're going to simplify by canceling out these guys right here, and you're left with a squared in the top, because you had more in the top when you started than you had in the bottom. All right, now let's look at 1 over b squared. Well, you can't do anything with that. That's as simple as it gets. So I'm just going to put my b squared over here. And that's it. That's your answer right there. Okay, you didn't have to put the 1. If you put a squared over 3b squared, it's the same thing. All right, let's go on to number 2. All right, this one involved a little bit more work. You needed to factor. And it looked like a lot of you guys were trying to just like simplify from this point, but you really can't. You need to factor every part, the numerator and the denominator. So let's factor out. This one had a common factor. You got 5x squared minus 25. Well, the common factor is 5. Okay, so now we think divide. So 5x squared divide, oh, that's all going to go together. I can't separate it. 5x squared minus 25 is really like 5 times x squared minus 5. Okay, if you went back and distributed that, you would get 5x squared minus 25. All right, now you do the same thing to the denominator. So what goes into 6 and what goes into negative 30? Well, it looks like a 6 would go into both of those. And if you factor out a 6, you're going to get x squared minus 5. All right, look, I see some factors that can be canceled out. The x squared minus 5, those two guys go together, and this one goes together. So your answer is just 5 over 6. And that's it. You can't do much else with that. Let's look at number 3. All right, this one, do not go in FOIL, because you're going to make a big giant problem where you don't need to have a big giant problem, okay? The only thing I would recommend is maybe put parentheses around that r plus 7, just to remind myself that those two guys have to stay together when you go to cancel them out. Now, go find things on the top and on the bottom that can cancel out. I see an r plus 1 and another r plus 1 in the denominator, so I can cross those out. And I see an r plus 7 and another r plus 7 in the denominator, so I can cross those out. All right, and now you got a bunch of numbers left. So it looks like in the numerator you have a 9. In the denominator you have 3 times 2, which is 6. Now that's okay to do it like that. You're not going to get full credit. unless you put it in lowest terms. And lowest terms, let's see, 9 divided by 6. I can't really do that without just making it a fraction. So if I divide everybody by 3, I get a 3 over 2. And that's the answer right there. Okay, so I'm going to put 3 over 2 up here. All right, the next one, the division problem. Oh, that's not it. There's our division problem. Okay, let's rewrite this. Okay, remember, this is division. And it's basic, and you don't have to do this step. It basically looks like this if you were going to write it out. Okay, horizontally, that's divided by x plus 1 over x plus 5 all over. Now, this is x minus 2 all squared. So that's really x minus 2 times x minus 2. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite it as multiplication. So this is a lot of writing, but at least it gets the idea across. You could have skipped that first step and just gone right to this if you could remember to rewrite it as multiplication. I am going to take the reciprocal of this whole entire thing right here, flipping the whole thing around, okay? Because when you divide, you are actually multiplying by the reciprocal. Okay, there you go. Now we're ready to start crossing things out and putting things in lowest terms. Let me erase this because I'm running out of room. Okay, not going to get it all erased, but I got most of it. Okay, so we've got, it's going to bother me. All right, so we've got x minus 2 times x minus 2 on top here. Okay, okay, you can see that. All right, I'm going to go and highlight everything that's the same on top and bottom. All right, and they have to go in pairs. So I've got an x plus 5 here, and I've got an x plus 5 over here. So those are going to go and be simplified and cancel out. Then I've got an x minus 2 here, and then I've got one more x minus 2 over here. So those are going to be simplified and cancel out. And now let's go cross them out so we don't go back to them. All right, because we don't want those divide out to be 1. All right, so now what we're left with is 3. And then we've got an x minus 2 over here. I'm taking them from here and here. And then my denominator has an x plus 1 in it. And there is nothing I can do with that. I cannot cross out. I cannot simplify. I cannot divide anything. I can't put it in lowest terms. That is my answer. If you wrote 3 times, oh, hold on. I didn't mean to put a parenthesis there. If you wrote 3x minus 6 over x plus 1, that's also right. Okay, so either of these is going to be correct. All right, one last one, adding and simplifying. So the denominators are the same. So we just keep these the same. So I'm going to write my denominator, 2y. Don't add them together and get a 4y. And then let's go and highlight the ones that are the terms on top that we would combine. We've got an x and we've got a 3x. And it looks like we've got a negative y and a negative 5y. So let's go and combine our terms. So x plus 3x is 4x. And then negative y minus 5y is negative 6y. If you got to this point, you got partial credit. All right, and so now the best thing to do is to look for things that you can put in lowest term. So you're still not completely simplified. So I see all the numbers are multiples of 2. So let's go and divide everybody by 2. Let me get back to my pen. So that becomes 2x minus 3y all over y. Now you can't divide everything by y because there's no y in that 2x. So that is your answer. All right. Hopefully that helped explain a little bit of your quiz retake that you did. And we're going to move on to reviewing for a test.